The Israelites, under the leadership of Moses, were close to the end of their 40-year journey in the wilderness. They were camped on the plains of Moab, just across the Jordan River from Jericho, as they prepared to enter the Promised Land. By this time, they had already defeated several powerful kings, which terrified the neighboring nations. Balak, the king of Moab, was deeply afraid of the Israelites because they were numerous and had successfully conquered other nations. He feared that his nation would be next. To stop the Israelites, Balak sought the help of Balaam, a prophet known for his ability to bless and curse people effectively. Balak sent messengers with a rich reward to Balaam, asking him to come and curse the Israelites, believing that a curse would weaken them and help the Moabites defeat them. When the messengers arrived at Balaam's home, Balaam told them to wait overnight while he consulted the Lord. That night, God spoke to Balaam and told him not to go with the men and not to curse the Israelites because they were blessed by God. The next morning, Balaam relayed God's message to Balak's officials, saying,
"The Lord has refused to let me go with you."
Unwilling to give up, Balak sent a second group of officials with even greater promises of reward. Balaam told them,
"Even if Balak gave me all the silver and gold in his palace, I could not do anything great or small to go beyond the command of the Lord my God."
However, Balaam again asked the officials to stay overnight while he sought God's guidance. This time, God told Balaam he could go with the men but only speak what he told him to say. The next morning, Balaam set out with the Moabite officials. But God was angry that Balaam had gone, likely because Balaam's heart was still enticed by the potential reward. As Balaam traveled, the angel of the Lord stood in the road to oppose him. Balaam could not see the angel, but his donkey did. The donkey veered off the road to avoid the angel, and Balaam beat the donkey to get her back on the path. A second time, the donkey pressed against a wall, crushing Balaam's foot, and he struck her again. Finally, in a narrow place where there was no way to turn, the donkey lay down. Balaam, furious, struck the donkey a third time. Then the Lord opened the donkey's mouth, and she spoke, asking Balaam,
"What have I done to you to make you beat me these 3 times?
"You have made a fool of me. If I had a sword in my hand, I would kill you right now."
Am I not your own donkey, which you have always ridden? Have I been in the habit of doing this to you?"
Balaam admitted that she had not. Then the Lord opened Balaam's eyes, and he saw the angel of the Lord standing in the road with a drawn sword. The angel rebuked Balaam for his actions and told him that if the donkey had not turned aside, Balaam would have been killed. Balaam repented, and the angel permitted him to continue on his journey, but reiterated that Balaam must only speak what God tells him. Balaam eventually arrived in Moab, where Balak eagerly awaited his curse on Israel. Balak took Balaam to various high places where he could see the Israelites camped below. At each place, Balak prepared sacrifices, expecting Balaam to pronounce a curse. However, each time Balaam opened his mouth to speak, God put words of blessing into his mouth instead of a curse. Despite Balak's growing frustration, Balaam blessed the Israelites 3 different times. Balak, now angry, told Balaam to stop speaking altogether since he was blessing the Israelites instead of cursing them. On the 4th time, Balaam prophesied the coming of a king, interpreted by many as a prophecy of the Messiah, who would crush Israel's enemies. Balaam eventually returns home, but his story doesn't end there. Later, Balaam advised the Moabites and Midianites on how to lead the Israelites into sin by enticing them into sexual immorality and idol worship. As a result, a plague struck Israel, killing many. Balaam was ultimately killed in battle when the Israelites fought against the Midianites. Balaam's desire for wealth and honor from Balak almost led him into disobedience. While he could not curse Israel, his later actions showed his willingness to cause harm to them indirectly. Even when enemies seek to harm God's people, God's protection is over them, and he turns curses into blessings. Balaam's story warns about putting personal gain over obedience to God. Despite his ability to communicate with God, Balaam's love for wealth led to his downfall. In the New Testament, Balaam is an example of someone who loved the wages of wickedness and led others into sin. As believers, we ought not to walk in the way of Balaam.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe.